Have a system check. Again, good afternoon. Let's have system check first. May I ask if you can see the screen I'm sharing? Do you see this boy praying here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah. How about my audio? You may just use the nonverbal feedback. Okay. Please give me heart if you can hear my voice clearly. Okay, right. Yeah, thank you. That's fast. Okay. Yeah, thank you. How about what you're feeling today? Can you leave a one word of your emotion in the chat? How are you feeling today? Are you affected by the typhoon? Are you well? Okay, you may type in the chat at least one word of what you're feeling today before we pray. Okay, there's one, two. Okay, you're feeling sleepy. Because it's, I think it's siesta time still. Okay, you're feeling dizzy. You may would like to rest for a while. Stressed and tired. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You feel exhausted. Mm-hmm. How about the others? Wow, happy. Okay, that's good to hear. Dizzy as well, ma'am. Maybe you'd like to rest. It's hard to force yourself, right, to be in this Zoom conference if you hear my voice, especially. And so I think feeling okay, plain, half hungry. You need to eat, sir. Exhausted. May that I think that can be, physically exhausted, mentally exhausted as well. Unwell. Are you sick, Belle? Again, if you're sick, you may have your rest for a while. Again, required. Feeling okay. Okay. What else? Thirsty. Oh, you have to drink water, Sir Jello. I told you, right, to bring your to have your tumbler beside you. Unwell also. We have a lot of sick teachers today. Again, you may leave the room if you're not feeling well. It's hard to focus, right? If you are feeling unwell or feeling dizzy, especially if you are suffering from headache. Okay, unwell. Mm-hmm. Okay, so who else? Feeling good from Sir. Okay, so again, you have the discretion to leave for a while and take a rest and sleep. Okay, feeling okay. So thank you. Thank you for your responses. Let us pray. May I call someone who's feeling happy today to lead the prayer? Mhm. Sir John Roby, would you like us to lead in prayer? Thank you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello po.
Yeah. Can you lead us in prayer?
Naririnig po ako.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes po, ma'am. Okay, let us pray. Lord God, we thank you for this day. Thank you for always allowing us. And thank you that you always protect us from any harm, Lord. And we thank you because of a life that is um, worthy, Lord. And you always give us love in every day. Lord, thank you that Ma'am Early is here. And marami po kami natututunan. And and thank you for always reminding us that we are loved and worthy, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
His name, amen. Thank you, Sir John, for leading us in prayer. That's a wonderful prayer. So we pray, right, for healing, recovery. For those who are sick today, we pray for miraculous healing if you're struggling. So, okay, let's have our usual screenshot or class picture. Anyone, please turn on your video for a while, at least for now. Okay, okay, I'll wait for the others. Or 20. Is this 26? Okay, we're 26 in the room. Okay, ready? One, two, three. Smile. Okay, next slide. Keep on smiling. One, two, three. Okay, that will do. Thank you. You may turn off your video if your internet connection cannot sustain it. Okay, so again, good day, teachers. Let's try to have your echoing of output. If you remember, I included that note or PS in the invitation link to this Zoom meeting. So I hope you have a copy. If not, it's fine. I will just relay also or echo the output of your classmates. Okay, I also have the copies. So first, before we continue, I would like to ask you if the deadline or the due date is reasonable. Is it reasonable? Is it workable? Is it feasible? If not, we can extend, right? Even for the next topics, because I already set, right, deadlines. Am I glitching? Because I just received a notification that my internet connection is unstable. Um,
Happy po, ma'am.
yeah, I'm glitching. Sorry. Okay. How about now? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So anyone who would like to say something in the chat, if the submission or compliance of the requirements is feasible, is it workable? Okay, I can see like react. How about for the others? It's okay. I need to hear, right? I need to know if it's not feasible. I know there are too many, right? And I know I'm not the only class you have, so okay, there's chat. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
in behalf of the class po na lang, ako na lang po magsasalita.
Okay.
Medyo we are having a hard time po
Mm-hmm.
complying kasi other subjects are giving us modules din po, ma'am. So,
Yeah.
our time management is mahirap pong gawin kasi syempre may kanya-kanya din po ginagawa sa bahay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, kahit
July.
okay lang po sa amin, ma'am, if every kung magbibigay po ng activity,
Mhm.
every 2 weeks po yung pagitan po ng paggawa.
Yeah, we can do that. So, for the next topics, are you referring to the previous one as well as this one? Because automatically for this, for the upcoming activities, I will set 2 week, deadline for that. I mean, 2 week preparation. Or would you like to consider also the previous one? Because I think not all were able to submit on time. It's okay, yeah. You may still submit even if it's turned in late.
Siguro po okay po, ma'am, kasi nagkasabay po talaga yung ma'am.
Yeah, I think I also learned that my other fellow faculty members have the same asynchronous time with me. So, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
bombarded. So, at least I know.
Thank you po.
Thank you. So, for the previous, right? You said for the previous and for the upcoming activities, we'll have 2 week preparation for that. Okay. Allow me to read the private message later. Ma'am, okay. Am I still glitching now? Is my audio still choppy?
Medyo mahina po na lumalakas, ma'am.
Ah, okay. But I'm not glitching. It's just the volume.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Is that Alea? Yeah. Thank you, Alea. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So now at least I need to recognize those who are able to submit, right, beforehand. So let us try to start this echoing of output as our way of also recalling the previous lesson. So I asked you, right, to read 2 articles about the first article is titled Future Educators Need to Maximize Technology in Teaching and Learning. And yeah, it's published last June 23, 2018. I gave you also parts, right? I gave you parts so you can be guided on what part only to include, right? What learning insights to add. So I gave you, say, this is analyses, learning insights, and policy recommendations. So anyone would like to read their work? At least the first one, the synthesis. So this is simply what the article is all about. So this can be just one paragraph, very short one, because it's simply a summary. Any volunteer? You may raise a hand. By the way, every time, because I think I receive, what do you call this? About the manner of submitting. Usually, if it's Google Docs, right? It's document or Word format. I already provided a copy, a separate copy for you. So if I say access the file, it's there on top with your name. So it means it's your copy. So there is no need to provide a different set of file or attachment. Okay, so that's yours, right? You may just use the space there provided. Okay, so anyone who'd like to share or allow me to call Ma'am Chris, please give me a number from 1 to 5. 4, is that 4? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sir John Roby, do you still have a copy of your work for the article, the first one? Are you still finding the file? Are you still looking for it?
Loading po.
Ah, okay. By the way, do we have members here of the correspondence team? Can you give me heart react if you're part of the correspondence team? Okay, we have one. Sir Andrew, who else? Two. Only two? Okay. By the way, if you're part of the correspondence team, if there will be, a group activities, for example, in the synchronous, you just have to take note, right, of your group number and what you did on that part on the correspondence. I mean, on the module. So you don't need to, yeah, you don't need to do it if you became part, okay, of the activity because we will have group activities later. Okay, Sir John, what's the update? Or
Sorry ma'am, my Microsoft Word is not responding.
so for now, thank you. Sir John, you may tell us if you're ready. Allow me to read first the synthesis of your classmate from Nerissa. Okay, I sorry, may I mute you for a while? So technology C advances C as opponent in many right established industries in higher education institutions within the large part of Asia. For Asia, but for other institutions, technology advances have developed innovative and creative means, even if it remains a question in adapting to technological disruption while maintaining the focus on the holistic development of students. As an urgent need for strategic approaches, the United Board for Christian Higher Education in Asia and Hong Kong Baptist University presented a conference as a response. So there's an event and they actually highlighted three goals of the event. So it's a 3D conference held on Kowloon, Hong Kong, and they aim to highlight the creative ways to increase access to education, showcase the methods as a means of promoting whole person education, and create a forum, of course, discussions. And it's not simply forum but echoing, right? Or yeah, echoing of the updates of the education system in different countries, okay, in Asia. So the conference had two promotion from different speakers to adhere to technology in education. So according to Ma'am, for her analysis in everything, there is always a downside and upside. Based on my understanding, the technological advance has pros and cons. So I think that's a reiteration of the first statement. The concept technology in teaching and learning is but the impact of disruption on higher education institutions and the process of adapting while focusing on the holistic. I think it's just reiteration, sorry. The upside of technology in teaching and learning is the innovation and creative ways that the generation can have the easiest way of accessing. So I hope, right, you became more particular and specific with all the parts since I already gave you specific parts. Yeah, that's right for uh, the pros, right? When it comes to innovative, software. I mean, unlimited software is available online that you may use in the teaching learning process. So, how about your analysis? Anyone? Mm. Give me a number again, Ma'am Chris.
Number 3.
3. 1, 2, 3. Ken? Isabel? Ma'am? Would you like to share your analysis here? Pros and cons of the article or the situation? I'm sorry. Who is that? Okay, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Do you?
Okay po, naririnig po ako.
We can hear you.
Okay. This my analysis po. The article gave more pros of adopting technological advances than its cons. With this changing world, establishment, especially educational institutions, should adapt to these changes because they are dealing with a diverse group of learners who is the main contributor of these advances.
Mm-hmm.
The article emphasized that while the institutions are adapting to technological advances, they should also maintain a holistic education. In this way, there is still a sense of education learned from the people inside the academe and not only from the technologies. Moreover, adapting technological advances to institutional establishment means that we are producing globally competitive learners
Mm-hmm.
because of being able to access global education.
Mm-hmm.
Bridging the distance between the conventional wisdom of the past and the
Okay.
modern world makes us capable to explore and develop creative ways to deliver the lessons to the students, maximizing the use of technologies.
Mm-hmm.
Technological advances, many established industries had been disrupted because there is a need for a new profession, a new workplace, a new curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, disruption could mean that there is a creation of something new, which also means that there is an elimination for something that are old. Some of the Asian countries are still adapting to technological changes and is still confused about what could be the consequences and advantages of it, or how should they implement the use of technological advances in terms of education and learning.
Correct.
This might be observed in the article. Maybe this is one of the reasons why they held such an event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. Right? Especially
That's it, ma'am.
with the given situation now, right? We're in quarantine, pandemic, and all these, events, webinars that you have attended or until now, right? The academe, may that be in Asia or in America, right? They continue to hold these events in order to cater the needs of the students and most especially to help the educators, right, accommodate the learners of this generation. So thank you, ma'am, for that. Let's proceed to the learning insights. So what are your insights after reading this article? Ma'am Danny, you there?
Ma'am.
Yes. What are your insights for the first article?
My insight is mainly focuses on the advancement of technology and the growth that it will bring to for all of us, especially in the teaching community. But then, assessing the urban areas or the rural parts of the Philippines, the geographical location of the Philippines, it will be hard
Mhm.
to catch up, especially in the province area. So I think there is always a downside for not only, it may be not for us but for other people. So it can be good as well. It can be also bad.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ma'am Danny, for considering the two facets of right of educational technology, especially in our nation. Yeah. Thank you for considering those who are in far-flung areas, right? That they can't really be reached by our internet connection and other technological devices. Thank you, ma'am. How about policy recommendations? What can you recommend to the teachers, to the parents, right, to the stakeholders regarding this, to the community, to the administration, to our university? Ma'am Chris, are you there, ma'am? You may unmute, ma'am Christine.
Ma'am, ulit po. Ano po ulit yung tanong?
Policy recommendations. So, what
Ma'am,
can you recommend to the all possible stakeholders regarding this article?
ma'am, I lost my copy of the paper ma'am, na pinasa po.
But do you remember? Do
Oo,
you,
may.
okay. Thank you.
Sorry po.
It's okay. So allow me to echo again from your classmates. So She said, as an educator, I must use appropriate instructions and materials or technology in order for the learners to learn effectively. So I hope that is more, elaborated, right? So at least we know what are these, right? Because when you recommend something, right, especially when you start writing your thesis, right, or if you've started, right, your recommendation should be very specific when it comes to, programs or events that you like them to hold, right, or conduct. So allow me to read again from another classmate of yours. He can recommend to consider technology use policies. In fact, it is now being implemented in our school premise where we can allow students to use technology for searching and gathering information. So again, this also supports the self-directed learning, right? You notice it's more of the self-directed learning in this season, right? It's called utagogy. So pedagogy is for children's learning and andragogy for adult learning. While utagogy is for self-directed learning, which is very prevalent these days. Okay. In addition, there are lots of instances that teachers allow their students to use technologies such as calculator in solving math problems and many more. Moreover, educators may also use technologies in their teaching process. For instance, some may use laptops for presentation of their topic. Thus, there is a need to be careful of the information they get online, for they might be accused for plagiarism. That's why, right? It's important that you are also critical when it comes to discerning what materials to use, right? Or what content to add to your outputs, for example. Okay, having said this, considering this policy takes the responsibility to be more careful in integrating technology in our education, where these include, possibilities, situations or circumstances that are inevitable. For instance, plagiarism, right? What else? Cheating, right? And other sorts of, loopholes and setbacks. So thank you for your outputs. How about for the next article? Your learning insights can be related to the first one, right? So this article is titled EdTech: How is Technology Changing Education in the Philippines? But this one is more contextualized. Unlike earlier, it's broader, right? And this one is more contextualized in our nation. So allow me to read from your classmate. He said the article comprises how technology transformed education. In fact, insights, facts, and enlightenment about edtech was presented by this article, or maybe were presented by this article. In this material, education technology was defined as a combined innovative learning. Its importance for Filipino students includes access to global education, which is correct, right? So I assume or I hope that you've been so exploratory when it comes to enrolling in free online courses, right? So you may do that in addition also to your credentials. So develops in-demand skills such as digital skills. And lastly, it brings global opportunities for national economies. On the other hand, it also talks about the challenges of EdTech in the Philippines, which are the following: providing easy access to e-learning environment for students. Yes, we even have, for DepEd, you have website of sources there, even for CHED, they provide you. However, you can say that it's not enough. That's why you gather other materials from international online libraries. Okay, giving adequate training for teachers and educators and disturbing resources. I'm not sure about the use of the term disturbing here. Okay, and providing the right equipment to schools. So aside from those, best edtech companies are also mentioned, such as Educacion, Learn Talk, right? Kite e-learning solutions, Jack and Poy Study Buddy, right? Quaper, which DepEd uses years ago, even before K to 12, which seeks to expand the horizons of the users, most specifically the students. So reading this article will give you a lot of information regarding educational technology, but as you notice, it's right. I mean, it's just the beginning, right? And you notice that there are more other softwares that can be used. So it is really great to know that it brought a lot of positive impacts to us students. And furthermore, these articles showed us that EdTech is very advantageous in our In your case, he said, in your case, a student for now, and for your case or your sake as an educator in the near future. It's simply because it allows you to fully access global education. But again, that's a crucial part, right? That's a crucial part of accessing all these available materials because it's not simply reading it, but it's reading, between beyond the lines and discerning really how reliable the material is. Okay. So anyone who'd like to share their learning insights about this article? Mhm. So, anyone? Ma'am, yes, you are. John
I'm
Roby?
ready na po.
Sir John, yeah, you're.
Yes po.
Can we go
Sorry
to
ma'am,
the
I'm
second
having a
article?
hard
It's
time with
Can we go to
computer
the
po.
second article?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. We're now on
Ma'am,
the
I'm
second
going
article, Learning Insights.
learning inside. So
Mm-hmm.
in my perspective, learning is everywhere. One thing that I get from the article, it is now a matter of our decision and the willingness to learn. It is about how we view learning is, thinking that learning is not just limited in the four corners of the classroom, but many platforms are arise and really accessible because of the rapid changes that we experience.
Mm-hmm.
Platforms that we can use to heighten the different specialization that we think we are passionate about. The utilization of digital technologies and internet will lead us for more variety of knowledge that will help us to grow and succeed in the profession that we choose, if and only if we are using it in the right purpose.
Okay, yeah. I like the idea that if we're going to use it appropriately, right, and intentionally, depending on the needs of our learners. Thank you for that. How about your policy recommendations, Sir John?
So the integration of these specific edtech companies on the classroom basis would actually one of my recommendations, where in my perspective, a social media become excessively used by youths. Enrolling with these educational technologies companies will be a great opportunity for them to be immersed in different types of technological tool in learning, and students be responsible for their own growth and with their own pace. They will also navigate what they really want to be as they explore their strengths and weaknesses with the help of this educational companies. Teachers encourage them in
Okay.
engaging them to it, really help them by giving extrinsic motivation, like they enforce them by giving them extra credit that will make them realize to utilize the use of internet and other digital devices. It will be just effective if the teachers, students, and parents are collaborate collaboratively helping each other toward one vision and mission for the sake of learning.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like the unity as well that you propose, right? That they should be working together. Therefore, they need to meet halfway, right? Teachers and students need to meet halfway. Thank you, Sir John. Okay, now let's proceed to the next activity. How did you interpret, okay, image right here? Anyone? Any volunteer? You may raise your hand so I can accommodate you. Ma'am Alexa?
Wait lang po, bubuksan ko lang yung file.
Okay, take your time.
Yung tinatanong niyo po is about sa interpret the figures below in one paragraph. Right po.
Mm-hmm. And we are on
Okay,
the first
sige.
part, context of learning.
Okay po. This is my answer po. The pictures demonstrate different ways on how we can attain knowledge and how we can use them. When we say learning, it pertains to the process of accumulating knowledge through experiences by studying or by being taught.
Mm-hmm.
School is one of the main sources of knowledge, and teachers play a big role in in the transferring of it.
Mm-hmm.
Students attend classes, listens to the teachers, and absorb all the necessary skills and knowledge they need. By doing so, students or learners become more efficient and is ready to face challenges the 21st century is bringing.
Mm-hmm.
Though going to school is vital in learning, we also learn by studying on our own. Books and internet connection are one of the important sources of knowledge when studying on our own. Getting information has become easier because of the internet, and by just one click, we will be able to get the information we need.
Mm-hmm.
The microscope in the given pictures signifies observation because we also learn through observing.
Mm-hmm.
Once we have gained the enough knowledge and skills, we will now be ready to achieve the 21st century, our 21st century profession.
Mm-hmm.
Yun lang po.
Okay. Wow, that's comprehensive and long interpretation. I think I asked only for a paragraph. Okay, so thank you for that. And you even use like a metaphor, right, for all these, even though this simply talks about science, right, hands-on experience, right, and this one is for the traditional setting, or rather formal setting, we can say, because you can integrate modern technologies below as well. Sir JV, you raised your hand. You like to share? You may unmute.
I will read my answer, ma'am.
Thank you.
In context-based learning is the response around the situation around on the students. In other words, without context, our understanding is limited. For example, considering this a following situation. In a restaurant, there is a woman alone and she ordered a one whole fried chicken.
There, Sir.
They know she is accompanied with her husband and son. Once we have some context, we
Oh, we're losing you. I don't know if it's my connection or yours.
hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello.
We lost you on the middle part.
All right.
Mm,
Once we have some context, we learn something new, and without context, our understanding is very limited. We
correct.
misinterpret information, and until we do some false inclusion. In classroom context, gives us more deeper understanding to the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can also check background stories, then we really understand the true story of context also matters when we learn languages. For example, if you're learning a Korean, you remember the word anyong haseyo,
Mm-hmm.
which is means hi, which when we learn new word in a sentence, we give context and the brain link new word of context and the experience on it.
Mm-hmm.
To sum up, I find out that the inside the classroom setting, the context of learning will increase the likelihood of students that will not only remember but also they apply ideas, skills, and principles in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And always remember the task of by trying, failing, and by doing is approach will ensure that students repeatedly experience the process of learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, ma'am.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for considering, right? Even yeah, the context is so important, just like what you said, right? Without the context, how will your students relate to what you are saying without, right? Example, real life situation, ways to transfer it to the actual world. Thank you, Sir JV. Okay, how about the next image? Okay. Would you like to interpret the picture, depending the pictures, rather all the images here, in relation to the different views of learning? You may use a teacher's perspective or student's perspective. Anyone? Yes, Chris? Ma'am Christina?
Is my audio clear, ma'am?
Yeah, clear.
In my opinion, the photograph talks about how each student learns differently from one another and how they view the learning process. So the photo where the people are building a house or a structure can be associated with how students learn when they are involved in the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Students actively participate in the class, therefore, um, they are learning by doing such things with the help of one another. It also depicts that each that learning is each student has a role in the learning process of their classmates. Therefore, learning is not entirely possible without the help of others. Next is the photo where there are two people that look like going on an adventure with nature. So this photo reflects those learners that who are very explorative. They always search for new things to learn because it is fun for them to have something to ponder upon.
Mm-hmm.
So the part where there is a person pointing to the direction that they are going can also be associated as a teacher who provides instruction to the student on where the student can gain more knowledge. And the photo where there is a lady doing pottery can be associated with a student that loves learning or doing tasks alone based on what she has learned from her teachers. So this picture is more like the student finally applying her learnings and creating something unique out of it.
Wow, okay.
The teachers prep and for the last picture, I can associate that with the teachers prepare their how teachers prepare their students.
Mm-hmm.
And um eh, wait lang, nawala po ako. So the fourth photo, which has a lady in her car that stopped for gas, can be associated with how teachers prepare their students for their future endeavor. So the guy who is refilling the gas tank of the car is the teacher, and the gas represents the knowledge that the teacher is teaching the student. So the lady is the student, and the car represents as a storage for all the things she has learned.
Okay.
And when the gas is enough, the lady can now be on her way to go on adventures, and no matter what challenge she faces as she goes along the road, her fuel will keep her going in order to reach her destination.
Okay, wow. I like that you're able to create stories as well, like mini stories, right? For each photo, you even use again, you relate them to different types of learners as well, or type of learning, like solitary learning, also applying how, I mean, transfer, right, of learning to the actual world situation. This one, of course, the help of more knowledgeable others, right? Social constructivist theory. Wow, great work there, Ma'am Christina. Thank you. Okay, how
Thank you
about
po.
you raise your hand.
Is my audio clear, ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
Read about my interpretations about the pictures. So the image on the upper right side shows a figure of a woman molding pots or vases, and in her background you can see rows of her finished products. You can associate this picture into experiential learning,
Okay.
which is a view in learning that's suggesting that learning is about meaningful experiences in everyday life, and that it is also called self-initiated learning because people have a natural inclination to learn. So they learn best when they are fully involved in the learning process. So the making of pots and vases probably sprang from the personal inclination or obsession of the woman depicted in the picture with
Mm,
vases, and because she's really into these things, it probably became easy for her to start making her own pots and vases.
okay.
The experiential is learning is most simpler, and to last with it is self-initiated, accentuations of nurturing their personal inclinations.
Mm,
That's it, ma'am.
okay. Wow. Okay, even on this part, right, you even use the term like obsession to doing things, right? So maybe, yeah, students are really passionate about applying immediately what they learn from, the teacher or any more knowledgeable other from the environment. Thank you. So again, you use experiential learning, right? To experience it it may not be the most concrete, right, experience, but experiencing something in any form, right? I think, I mean, it denotes learning. Thank you. Okay, another. Okay, discuss whether or not you belong to the digital technology generation. Prove your answer by providing five evidences. Anyone who'd like to say that, ma'am, yes, I am part of the digital technology generation? Okay, anyone? Yes, Sir Bang?
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so this is my answer for this. That when I was in senior high school, I'm studying in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So in my time, I am in the middle of the digital technology generation. So at that time, every private or any school, they still not apply too many technology inside. So
Oh.
for example, like during the whole semester, there just only 30 to 40% student can study with technology.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, for this that first thing that in the class we don't have the slide, but we have the television.
Oh.
So the teacher can show some video for the student to understand more about the lesson. Secondly is we have at that time we have English subject,
Mm-hmm.
because before we don't have English subject, but and in my time we have English subject, and we have some not really high technology, just about the headphone for us to listen and
Okay.
to practice the pronunciation of
Mm,
American. The
okay.
third one is we change between the before we have to study all thing in our paper. but at that time we have many internet competition.
Okay.
So it will have the student have the good place to study and
Mm.
have the
Wow.
student to
Mm-hmm.
prepare with to know more about the technology.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing that if we at that time that and the last thing that if in my time we don't apply too many technology inside the class will become boring because we have television at home and that children the children like to watch the video more than to listen the lesson because it's very sleepy.
Okay. Right, it causes it to sleep, but I think, right? I mean, those are possible technologies, thank you, that you can even recall, right? Those, experiences where you are exposed to technology, where they can be just television, right? Just headphones to listen to particular English audio, right? Still, right? You're blessed, right? I mean, your country or your specific school there is blessed with these technologies. So we can say that, Sir Bang, yes, you belong to the digital technology generation. Not only looking back to your previous experiences, but also now, right? I can see you are merely exposed to all these different types. Thank you, Sir Bang. Another example. Allow me to echo. Sir Alvin, are you here? Allow me to echo your output. I like how you even included, timeline with smiley and yeah, period of your life here. So, is it okay? Sir Alvin, are you here?
I'm here, ma'am.
Okay. So would you like to echo your work or
Okay lang ba?
Mhm. You'll be the one to share it or I will read it? Which is which?
Hindi ko po alam paano mag-share ng screen.
It's okay. I may echo your work.
Okay po, ako na lang po magbabasa, magsasabi.
What again? It's you who'll do it. By the way, Ma'am Bell, please take a rest. You may leave the room if you're not feeling well. Please take a rest. Health is more important. Okay? Anyone? Okay, so allow me to echo Sir Alvin's work here. So he used like smileys, right, smiley faces here with primarily schooler version of Sir Alvin and secondary schooler version of Sir Alvin. So he used 2006 to 2012 for primary school and secondary 2012 up to this date. So for primary, teacher centered, put all my focus on the teacher. Pure text in order to research, right? They have books. Well, that's part of technology, though traditional, not the digital one. So linear needs a step by step exposition of topics. Okay, scaffolding is part of that. Independent learners, learning individually with the teacher, discussing held in the classroom. They also use libraries to chill. I like that, to chill and read. While for secondary school up to now, okay, there are visuals now, correct, have greater affinity to visuals like photos, videos, and other form of hypermedia. So that leads us to number two. So hypermedia has a personal random access to internet. Okay, I'll just disable annotation. Okay, next, social learners. So acquainted with technology that adopts both a personal and participative work, correct, can take instantaneous ways to communicate with others through mobile gadgets and text. You are also trained to use a computer laboratory. So we can say also that Sir Alvin is part of, right, the digital technology generation. He even included an interpretation here. Okay, as the element seen on the table, he strongly agrees that he belongs to the digital technology generation. There is a significant gap between the primary version of Sir Alvin and the present version of him being a student. Education is really innovative, and he can really say that he belongs to this generation. And he can build what he knows and effectively change the world by creating sustainable solutions. Wow, I like, wow, I mean, big words here. To the problems that you may encounter in the local and global environment. Okay, yeah. Thank you for that sense of leadership as well, Sir Alvin. Okay. Now let's go to this one. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, who among you made use of the Bubble That Us website? It's okay also if you created your own using like shapes and others. So we have Ma'am Alea, Sir JD. Yeah, I think, okay. It's your new way, it's your, digital way of doing your mind map, right? Or any graphic representation. So that's good to explore as well. Okay. So, okay. So that's the butterfly light multitasking skills with single task skills and accomplishing tasks kind of. So allow me to share. Sir Alvin, is it okay?
No.
Okay, so Sir Alvin also go that bubble that as link and allow me to share the screen of his own mind map here. Okay. So in this case, it really requires your, reflection on how you accomplish your task, right? Okay. Let me share now. Okay, can you see this now? Can you give me a like or act if you can see his work? Okay, great. Thank you. So what he did, okay, oops, sorry. Okay, what he did, he used a heading here, right? Butterfly like task. So that's great. And then he included sub components of that. Okay, like address the issue first. Okay, I like that. Wow, he even used his name, initials as acronym. Okay, address the issue. Okay, list down the due dates, correct. Vent your thoughts. I like it. Okay, indulge for a moment. Okay, what else? Notice your effort. So that's Alvin there. So this is his strategy. Okay, next, accept the challenge for Alvin. Identify, for A, the mission. Identify the mission. Okay, to be completed. Be prepared, right, in all aspects. Wow, that's, I think, a vague concept there. Okay, for letter L, right, enlisting down the due dates. Okay, in chronological order, make a list of your task due dates so you can have an overview of your task. So I think this is setting priorities, right? List down all, make your to-do list and not to-do list. You need to be very particular with your not to-do list. So every time you will, give your attention, right, to some parts or the items in your not to-do list, you can go back to a different one. So follow your schedule, okay, exclusively to surely accomplish your particular task. Okay, and for letter V, yeah, let the class flow. Ideas, or let the ideas flow in your head. Go through a careful process to arrange the details. Yeah, that's one. Okay, and cultivate resources that are essential to you. Make use of the given samples and exercises given. Wow, I like that there's an end point, right? I like that there is an end point to that, and that means accomplished a task. That is correct. Okay. So another for I, yeah, indulge for a moment, take a break. So this has something to do with the reward. So maybe you've seen that it's not really a meme, but it's a photo of a student, right, in the Philippines where she has all the modules scattered on the table with 500 peso bill on each, right? Have you seen that? Can you give me haha react if you've seen that picture? So you can use it as motivation, but of course, right? If no one will give you 500 peso for each module, well, you better just change your type of motivation, right? Or break techniques there, like. Okay, after this, I'm gonna watch a Netflix series. So at least you're hitting two birds in one stone. So you are resting at the same time you're adding, events, I mean, activities to your 500-hour English exposures. I hope it's right. The challenge is doing well with you. Okay, get new fresh ideas. So new is fresh, I think. So get fresh ideas, get new ideas. Okay, and notice your efforts, acknowledge or give yourself a credit, reflect on the. I like that. Yeah, very teacher. Sir Alvin, yeah, reflective teaching. It's needed, right? To always have yourself reflected. Did I give my best, or did I just cram, right? Because of the deadline and so on. So again, you prioritize what needs to be prioritized. Thank you, Sir Alvin. Let us go back to now on the same screen I'm seeing again the man with so many hands. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Chris. So as we continue, I even asked you to choose a law of learning, choose a grade level, hopefully grade 7 to 12, subject course, hopefully English because that's your major, topic lesson and subject matter, activity with complete instructions. Okay, again, I'm very particular with the specificity of the activity with complete instructions. You don't simply say, okay, they're going to play game, and what is that game? And I'm asking for concrete examples. So, anyone who'd like to share? Okay, Ma'am Hazel, thank you.
So, law of learning, law of emotion, grade level, grade 9, subject or course, English.
Okay.
Topic, literary devices. Activity with complete instructions. So,
Mm.
the name of the activity is traveling down to memory lane.
Wow,
So,
okay.
instruction. A single picture can trigger various memories, be it happy or sad. The teacher will first show a set of pictures that has sentimental value to him or her and share it with the class, describing it and making sure that the students can vividly picture the specific memory the teacher was reminiscing.
Mm,
After that, the students will be asked to scan their phones and select a picture that instantly brings back a priceless memory to them. For 15 minutes, the students should come up with a short poem about the picture they selected.
mm-hmm.
The short poems should try to convey and encapsulate the memory they are trying to reminisce.
Cute. Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 students can be picked to present their selected photos and short poems in front of the class. After this activity, the teacher will explain that photographs also are often a source of inspiration to writers and poets. The
Mm,
prose and slas and immortal memories, nostalgic feeling, and longing for the time that has passed by have been the subjects of many poems. The teacher will further elaborate on the importance of conveying raw and authentic emotion through writing using different techniques like the use of literary devices.
mm-hmm. I like it. I like how you relate, right? Traveling down a memory lane into literary devices of such literary piece. Thank you for that. That's wonderful and very concrete. Instructions, and that's needed, right? Especially when you apply that. May I ask if you also base your activity, especially your lesson, from the curriculum guide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So again, embrace the curriculum guide provided by DepEd for grade 7 to 12, of course, for your specialization. So at least it will be easier for you to think of possible lessons, discussions, especially in the future, right? You have these activities in mind. Thank you, Ma'am Hazel. Okay, allow me to read from one of your classmates. Okay, law of exercise, grade 8, English, proper pronunciation of words. So the teacher will ask the students to pronounce the words in the chart after listening to the instructor, the teacher, on how he or she pronounces each word. After that, the students will repeat all the words without the help of a teacher. Okay, correct? The activity enables the students to develop their speaking skills by pronouncing words repeatedly and familiarizing how to pronounce each word. So, you are teaching, right, phonetics here. So, you have also to give a disclaimer, right, when it comes to what variety of English you're going to refer to. For instance, are you focusing on American English, British English, or maybe Philippine English? So I don't know, but I appreciate now, right? I learned to appreciate Philippine English. I mean, to really just not stick, even though I'm more into American English, right? But upon being exposed to many webinars about Philippine English, I learned that we really need to respect and also, cultivate, I rather cultivate our love for all these kinds of Englishes. That's also the reason we have our, Philippinisms. We call them Philippinisms, right? In OED or Oxford English Dictionary. And that's the reason, right? I mean, that's because of Dr. Danica Salazar there. So in this case, let's just be careful, right? I think it's from Noraline, by the way. Okay, so we have to be careful when it comes to also following the IPA, right, in terms of the right pronunciation, or maybe the appropriate. We can use the word appropriate depending on the variety of English. Thank you. Okay, there's law of feedback and law of association, grade 7, English. Topic is plot structure, so short storyline. The teacher will assign students to think of their favorite movie or any story that they have already read. The students will begin to rethink and reflect using the existing language. So this is constructivism, right? Okay, activating the prior knowledge using the schema and creating new one. The teacher will ask them to fill in the parts of the plot structure with the movie or story they have chosen to describe and narrate to the class. So the teacher will roam around the classroom to assist the students while working on the task given and check if they will follow. After 35 minutes, students will have to share their answers to the class. I think that's enough, right? That will be enough time. But if they can't, right, if they can accomplish one task in at a given time, maybe you may extend or give consideration. So the teacher will also share her favorite movie or story, the same with what the students will have to do. After sharing, the teacher will ask the students to give their feedbacks about the works and other students' work. So this is now peer. Wow, I like this. You combine so many formative assessment here and even summative peer assessment. Okay, so the teacher will give his or her own feedbacks and evaluate the works of the student. So before, I can see here that before, right, the teacher's feedback is given, you ask first for the peer assessment or peer review from their classmates. So thank you. This is correct. Okay. So next, yeah, roles of a teacher. So we have 11 roles there provided, enumerated for you. So okay, may call someone which among the 11, right? Which among the 11 roles of a teacher in the 21st century would you like to possess in the future? Or would you like to prioritize more, right? Emulating or exemplifying. Anyone? Sir Nikasha?
Oh, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
As a teacher, knowing and practicing your roles in the classroom is one of the more important steps in becoming an effective teacher. Teachers need to know their roles so that they have stability and structure for which to rely on when it comes to their teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which you may highlight one. You may
oh,
choose one because I asked it to choose three, but for the echoing, you may choose one. Which one are you there? The controller, prompter, resource provider, assessor, organizer,
um,
participant, yeah, tutor.
as such, I will strive to learn and practice the role of assessor.
Okay.
As a student, I would often assess myself or my friends on what they've been doing in the classroom. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I have general idea as to how they approach their learning, and I could easily predict what they're going to do in the classroom.
Wow. Okay.
That is how I see the assessor role mostly as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
In teaching, I have to put my classmates on assessments on record, and I need to have a feedback mechanism in order to know if my future students understand the implications of their assessment
Mm-hmm.
and how they may be able to improve to merit higher grades.
Mm-hmm.
I admit I am not particularly good at giving encouragement to them,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to explain that instead of being discouraged, they need to be encouraged that wait lang, that a, a possible failure in one assessment does not make them a failure,
Mm-hmm.
but they it gives them a chance to improve further.
Okay, wow. I can suggest that maybe you're saying that now that you're not that good, right, when it comes to expressing or encouraging your students through words, but uh, right, you may still develop that, of course, in the future, right? You still have years, right? You still have days to come to practice giving, delivering sincere, 100 ways to praise. Given that, I think I mentioned that before, right? So just make sure that you will tell these words, right, to your students, right, straight to their eyes with sincerity. Okay, so thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah, it's so important that we assess, right, the learning, but it's not only the students, right, that we assess, but we also assess ourselves sometimes with the help of the the students, right? So in our case, I'm able to receive feedback not only through personal messages but also through through SAS, right? To faculty evaluation in the SAS, and I appreciate the thank yous, but I appreciate more, right? The suggestions that they usually give me. So in that matter, so I usually receive like two opposing forces during my first year of teaching. I received like all uppercase, no without no consideration, that I didn't have consideration before, and then I changed that. So I like I loosen, right, my the deadlines and so on. So you really need to meet halfway to empathize to your learner. Thank you, Sir Nikasha. How about Sir Dat? Yeah, what is the role that you like to possess in the future? What is the top role?
Actually, ma'am, I would love to become. I would like to train myself to become a leader.
Wow, okay.
Because I'm just I find
Maybe I can relate that to controller, right, and resource provider and organizer as well. So would you like to further elaborate that?
because I believe that as a teacher, um, I'm aware of my main purpose is to teach students, but also have an influence that extends beyond my own classroom. And I have to be a good follower in order to become a great leader in
Yeah.
the context of education. Most importantly, I must practice to have a good attitude, which has a strong impact on the success of the team. It is an indispensable factor to be a leadership because it strongly influences decision making process,
Mm-hmm.
creativity, and interpersonal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
To me, a leader is a person who can also have good communicative skill,
Okay.
which is to talk persuasively and listen to people willingly. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when I discuss with my co-teachers
Mm-hmm.
about how we should shape the classroom to ensure that everyone can participate and avoid distractions like sleeping, using phone, or talking during the class, I
Yeah.
will suggest U-shape for my class because it
Yeah.
will provide a very spacious area in the middle of the
Correct.
class at
Mm-hmm.
which teacher can conduct activities and observe the students better. In this point, the acting of giving suggestions is the initiative to be a leader. At the same time, I will also listen and be open to the feedbacks from my coworker to know if this is possible to apply by speaking openly about the school's goals and opportunities or challenges. I can build trust among the team and foster an environment where everyone feels empowered to
Mm-hmm.
share their ideas and collaborate, encourage experimentation, and create a safe space for active problem solving. Yes, sir.
Okay, wow. I mean, that's not only being leader, right? As participant, communicator, we have the same preference. I also love U-shape since I learned it from Ma'am Emir when I was her student, if you know Ma'am Emir, right? And since then, pose, U-shaped form of seating arrangement. In that case, I can see everyone. And then when someone needs to perform at the center, right, or in front, you can own the stage and you can, expand your nonverbal gestures and be comfortable, right, facing your students. Wow. Thank you for that, sir. That so uh, another. Okay, I even asked you to watch this video, right, of Simon Sinek. This is why you don't succeed. Who among you appreciate Simon Sinek? Can you give me heart react there? Okay, wow. So I hope, right, at some point, really, uh, he left a big impact on your life. Just like what I said last time, his interview, this mere interview was one of the reasons I deactivated my Facebook account, looking at all the factors that he mentioned, right? About parenting, technology, impatience, and
Environment.
yeah, wow. Okay, so in that sense, right? So what are the policy recommendations that you can give to the generation now, to to the teacher, to the employer, right? Anyone? Ma'am Alexa?
What was the question again, ma'am?
Yeah, policy recommendations from the video. Like, what can you recommend to the generation, to the millennial generation, or even the generation now, right?
Okay.
Your
With
profession.
re- okay po. With relates to the video po,
Mm-hmm.
according to Simon Sinek,
Mm-hmm.
we must reduce the use of
Mm-hmm.
our cell phones, our social media, and I think it is somewhat I can recommend to to other people po kasi um Simon Sinek is actually correct when he said that cell phones and social medias add stress to our lives po, and it it makes us stressful and um have anxiety, or there are cases that people are committing suicide because of the stress that they are dealing because of the social media. There are a lot of issues there, and such po.
Mm-hmm.
Yun po. So, bale, my recommendation is to reduce the use of social media, not to stop, but to reduce it po.
Okay, or to use it sparingly, right? Depending on the purpose, and manage the time that you consume. I mean, that the technology consumes. Thank you. Okay, ma'am. How about, okay, again, this is a position paper, so you need to take stand. What is your stance on this one, Sir Angel?
Yes, ma'am. Open ko lang po yung advice.
Okay. So usually, yeah, when you ask your students to write position paper, they need to take stance, right? Even though there can be, biases, but that's the idea of position paper. You need to take stance and, provide evidences for your
So
stance.
I'll just read my conclusion for my side, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
I said here that in conclusion, Simon Senek's statements are still agreeable to a point of discussion and not to the point of conclusion.
Okay.
His points could be used for a greater study of the subject, but the statements itself are not sufficient to stand on its own. It still requires much data to be supported. The whole interview is still good in its way, but it still has to be reviewed and studied before people should accept it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
If the hands of time could be reversed, the televised program could have prepared a series of questions that test the credibility of Simon Senek's thoughts rather than simply absorbing it without restrictions. Yun po yung conclusion, ma'am. Because ano po, I think, ma'am, he has a point, but a data to support his point is still needed po for
Yeah.
it to become a fact.
Thank you, Sir Angel. So you're saying that, yeah, he focused on giving, concrete, just real life, your realistic situations, instead of simply, uh, you know, pointing out references, right? So yeah, that's right. So even if you agree that is right, there's need for, follow up questions, right? And what are supporting evidences like figures, correct, right? But of course, just like what you said, you agree, right, with some situations, but it depends on the people who will watch the video, right? To do something, especially if they can relate to a certain situation that he mentioned. For example, taking care of your relationships, right? I mean, prioritizing physical relationship, contact with people, and not, just gratifying the needs of our needs when it comes to receiving likes, right? Or comment or feedback from social media. So, yeah, thank you for that, sir. Okay, next. Okay, I even asked you to choose among those assessment methods. So we have online quizzes, open-ended easy questions, drag and drop activities, online interviews, dialogue simulations, online polls, game type activities, peer evaluation and review, forum posts, and others. So among those assessment methods, you also have to choose formative digital assessment tool or software that you have to use in order to accomplish these activities. So you may choose Google Form, Plickers, what else? Paul Everywhere, Socrative.com. It depends, of course, on your target, right? Assessment output, Nearpod, Kahoot, ClassFlow, right? There are so many, right? But the question is its appropriateness and how we maximize the use of it. So May I ask for someone to share what assessment method would you like to use and what's the software, grade level? Okay, let me call. How about Ira? Are you there? Ma'am Ira?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so connection. Okay. How about
Sorry, I did not get.
it's okay, it's okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, how about Reynold? Is this Reynold? Anyone? So Reynold?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, I use online quizzes as my assessment method,
And
and I use Google Forms as my formative digital assessment tool. And then the grade level is grade 7, and then my topic po is about subject verb agreement.
okay. Okay.
Tapos, yun na po, ma'am.
Yeah, what specific rule under subject verb agreement? Many.
Lahat po.
Wow, okay. At some point, right? It's in the curriculum guide, but the question in our sorry, can our students really, right, grasp everything like all rules, including special cases, right? For instance, so use Google Form. I hope you, yeah, I can see, right? The Google Drive link is here. There's one also from your classmate, online quizzes, right? Also, Google Forms as well, grade 7, elements of plot. So it's about plot, and then it's simply, objective type. Yeah, that's great to use for Google Form. And there's Google Drive link. So thank you. Okay. Okay, now, so we'll talk about the role of IT in educational technology. Here are the following objectives. So, again, these are so many activities, but again, we'll do it for 2 weeks, or you do it for 2 weeks. First, we're going to answer the questions regarding learning environments with the best of your knowledge. So, that's individual. Next, design a similar model of a learning environment from the perspective of a learner. This will be done by group later. Okay. And next, describe the current learning environment where you are learning a course or program. Of course, you're going to say this is the learning environment that we are in now. It's the virtual classroom. Next, write a descriptive paragraph by deciding on the key components and their subcomponents and by making choices for each subcomponent. Another, okay, create a semi-detailed lesson plan using one type of learning. This is an important training for you, right? To, just have an easy familiarization and awareness on how to plan your lesson. Share the content you are passionate about by choosing your preferred blogging site, then create an account and publish content you would like others to see, hear, or feel. So if you have existing, by the way, if you have existing blog, that's fine. That will do. Next, prepare an introductory video to show your future students. Well, the other or the further instructions will be posted in the Google Classroom. So you just have to attach a file, like very limited minutes of your introduction, because that is now right the trend of all the teachers. Well, in my case, we did it in synchronous mode. Okay, rate your performance. This last part is self-assessment. So let's now, okay, discover IT as it enters a new learning environment. So generally, right, and basically, the learning environment refers to the diverse physical locations, contexts, and cultures in which students learn. In our case, this may not be literally physical, but there's a context, and this is our learning environment, the virtual classroom. Okay, so there are some components that right, that comprise an effective learning environment. So, in this case, right, building an optimal, learning experience for for students in a particular course or curriculum is perhaps the most innovative aspect of teaching now, because it's not only limited to the physical learning environment, but also all the components that it comprises. And we have, yeah, although there is a desire, right, to concentrate either on traditional education and learning environments such as classes or online lecture, right, lecture rooms and lab, or sometimes technology utilized to build online personal learning environment, or we call it PLEs. Learning environments are broader than all such physical components. So we have these components. The characteristics of the learners must be considered. Goals for teaching and learning. May I ask someone in what part or which part of the lesson plan you see the goals for teaching and learning? Can you raise of hand, or you may type the answer in the chat? Anyone? Well, when it comes to the characteristics of learners, you may utilize the multiple intelligence test that I asked you to do. Okay, did I need to make sure, did I ask you? Have I asked you to take the test for multiple intelligences? The website is literacy.net. Anyone? Can you give me like reaction for that? Okay, correct, right? Your answers are correct. Objectives, correct. For anyone who can tell me, just give me like reaction if you took the test. Okay, there's one. So okay. So I assume, right, that you're top. We hope, right? Since you're English majors, you're top, at least top three, right? Includes verbal linguistic intelligence. Okay. Another, the activities that will best support learning. In this case, we can find it or find these activities in from the very beginning, right? Recall motivation and then learning experiences inside the learning procedure for formative assessment. At the same time, in the application part, where you include both individual guided activity and group differentiated tasks. Also, we have assessment strategies that will best measure and drive learning. It can be done formatively, right? Formative assessment or summative. So this is now the part of evaluation or the quiz of your lesson plan. Next is the culture that infuses the learning environment. So even the context should be, I mean, springboard, right? Content, the context of your content should be contextualized, right? Localized and indigenized it's if it's needed. Okay, this is an example of a learning environment model. Okay, and this figure shows, one possible learning environment from the perspective of the teacher. As you can see here, there's a teacher at the middle, and she's surrounded by, all the components of, components, major components and subcomponents of, for her, right? Not only ideal, but for her, effective and conducive learning environment. So she started with, I mean, there's no particular order, but yeah, it includes content, right? It includes content, skills, learner support, resources, assessment, learner characteristics. In this case, right, most of the time it's ideal on the part of the teacher because, yeah, she sees the need, right, to address all these. But how about students' perspective, right, of the learning environment? So let us dive first into each content, right, a subcomponent for content, right? Content goals, sources, structure, quantity, and depth, and activities. All these should be, right, should be considered by the teacher. Like, especially how are you going to scaffold, right, each lesson based on complexity, because not all your learners, of course, learn at the same pace at the same time, right? And yeah, also for the content goals, make sure they are achievable by all the activities. That's the reason, okay, just to share with you, that's the reason I have a lot of activities in the IM, even in the synchronous, right, in the Google Classroom, because I don't want, I don't want just one topic to sound like a trivia to you, because again, without application in any form, there is no learning. Okay, and so for learner characteristics, of course, majority of the instructional models include this as the first thing to know, and that's, to know the learner. So it includes learner goals, prior knowledge, right? Ma'am, how about if the student doesn't have that? So that's the only time you're going to provide them the context or example, right? Are they digital natives? So you may also consider that not all of them are, or even you, right? Even the teacher is not, comfortable using it, still exploring, still maximizing the features of a certain software. Diversity, right? Are you reaching out to other skills that they may utilize, right? Not only, written activities, but also, through viewing, right? Listening, right? And all those macro skills and learning context. Okay, another skill. So we have here the skills, thinking activities, discussions, skills, goals, and practical activities. So again, for the practical activities, make sure that examples are realistic, right, and feasible in the learning environment. So this again, uh, you know, leads us back to what I told you, that you have to imagine an imaginary bubble on top of your student's head, asking, "So what?" Right? So what if if we memorize the rule of subject verb agreement, right? So what? So how are we going to use them in the actual world? And next, okay, we also have resources. So my time here, right? Assistance, facilities, and technology. These are part, right? Assessment tools also, okay, are included, like projects, e-portfolios now, tests, and essays. So in this case, this is, right, at some point, this has, little to no influence about other components, especially if we would like to meet halfway. Maybe you see learning environment in a different perspective. So that leads us to your group activity. So for the group activity, I will divide you into two breakout rooms. We will have breakout session. Okay, you will design a similar model of a learning environment from the perspective of a learner. So you have to choose as well a representative to explain your work afterward and answer the question, like, what would be the main differences between the learning environment from the teacher's perspective and the learner's perspective. So in your case, you focus on the student's perspective. So for instance, right, it can be of your situation now as college student or your future student's perspective of a learning environment. So you may access the code now. By the way, for the criteria, we have content 10 points, focus 10 points, okay, visual appearance 10 points, and mechanics, of course, right, grammatical errors. Um, are not, tolerated. So 10 points for each. We have 40 points. So for now, okay, you may scan the QR code and then later I will also send you the link to guide you. I will divide you into two breakout session. You may ask for help so I can join and of course at the same time leave the room if you don't need me there. So you may please cooperate, okay, with your members. Any questions before I divide you? Clarification? If you have another device, you may scan the QR code for easy access. So all of you can do something, right, to the Google Drawing. There's a Google Drawing link. Yes? You may unmute if you have concerns before we proceed. Okay, how about 30 minutes or 40 minutes? Would you like 40 minutes to accomplish that? Or 30? I need your response. So at least I know what's feasible. 40 will do, teachers?
40 is fine, ma'am.
Okay, 40. So we'll have 40. Allow me to. Okay, there's chat. Okay, 40 minutes. Okay. Any more concern? By the way, if you need help, you can just call me there. 40 is great. Okay. Thank you for that. Let me divide in 40 minutes, right? And then you will have 30-minute countdown. No, 30 seconds rather. 30 seconds countdown. Okay, we have 12 members each group. Okay. So ready now? Okay, go to your respective.
One to present.
Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you may start. I will guide you through my annotation.
Before I start with my presentation, ma'am, I would like to talk with my group mates if I lack some information in the picture.
Okay.
Um, Actually, ma'am, I think that the perfect classroom climate
Mm-hmm.
is when the teacher and uh, students and other factors collaborate together.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that I would love to mention is the learning environment.
This one, okay.
As a teacher, I believe that it's much better and it's the best thing when teacher they create a friendly learner environment in which the students they are allowed to develop, and the teacher also need to listen to the thoughts of the students
Mm-hmm.
in order to understand them more on what they are, how they are doing in the
Okay.
learning process.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I believe that in this modern world, technology is everywhere. It means in the classroom environment, we also need to apply technology as well in
Mm-hmm.
order to facilitate the teaching and learning process. And it's really important for both teachers and learners to have background uh, background knowledge
Mm-hmm.
about technology. And the next thing is teachers, their role is really important to consider
Mm-hmm.
different kinds of learners in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom, because uh, everyone has different ways to study, and um, they could be intelligent in different domains. And the last thing I would love to share is the community
Okay.
with the teaching process. The
Mm-hmm.
parents they play a very important role to make sure that um, they know what the children are doing in the class by sharing and talking with the teachers. And uh, learning environment is always better with the help of everyone in the class. Students they know how uh, to work together to come up with the best results. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Wow. Congratulations, Group One. Thank you for this comprehensive, at the same time, very visual, right? Appealing presentation or model when it comes to your learning environment. I understand, right, that at some point you are focusing on what the teacher, right, needs to address in terms of how you see the learning environment. So, aside from, because I was supposed to at least interrupt that, okay, to focus on how you see it as a learner, but I can see that it's part, right, because in that case you clamor, for example, for the teacher to focus on the students responses, focus on students multiple intelligences, and of course the available resources. Okay, can we give Group One a clapping reaction?
Alert from iMovie. Share failed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Group One. Congratulations. Okay, it's so obvious here. I can see you're visual learners, right? So instead of simply using text, you use what? Images with key terms. Now let's go to Group Two. Who's your representative, Group Two? Okay, who is the learner at the center? Okay, is it Ma'am Lalaine? Is it Ma'am Lalaine to present? Or Ma'am Hazel? Anyone? Okay. Who's your representative for Group Two? Okay, Princess. Really, who is your presenter? Is it Ma'am Princess or Sir Reynold? Did you ask permission for Ma'am Hazel that you're going to use the picture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. Oh, is it Sir Reynold? You may start now.
Sir Reynold, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ronald po.
You know what? At first, I'm worried about Group Two. I thought they haven't started because they use a different platform, right? Maybe they thought of again the bubble that us, right, instead of simply manually, right, doing it in the Google drawing. So at least, yeah, they made it. Okay, Sir Reynold, you may start. Oh, I think Sir Reynold is not available. How about other representative?
Blurred po yung screen.
Oh, really? It's the connection. I can zoom it in. How about now? I think it's your connection.
Still blurred po.
Mm. Because in my case, it's not. So maybe it's your connection. Okay. Don't worry. You will be guided by the presenter, of course. Any representative aside from Sir Reynold, Ma'am Princess? Yeah, Sir Reynold typed Ma'am Princess. Ma'am Princess, take the lead.
Okay po, ma'am. I'll discuss na lang po for our group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay po. Good afternoon po. Can I discuss while my video is off po kasi I'm just using phone.
Okay.
Thank you po.
Mhm.
And so, okay, so this is our graph for the learner's perspective.
Mhm.
So, starting from the student in the center, can you please go up po?
Okay.
Okay, thank you po. Yan. Wait. Ano ulit yan? Okay. Ma'am, let me just start with, it's blurred po kasi.
Okay.
Ayan. I'll start na lang po with teacher's characteristic because what we saw on the illustration for the teacher's perspective, teachers also have this preference for learner's characteristic. So as a student, we believe that we also do have these preferences for teachers.
Yeah.
And then we included there the variation. So for if teachers are looking for diverse learners, or they believe that the learners are diverse,
Mm.
students also believe that teachers are various or diverse as well. So we are expecting teachers to have this variation
Mhm.
regarding their methods, their approaches, their strategies in students. Ayun po. Next po is, wait lang po, they sent po the picture. It's clearer po.
Okay.
And next po is the emotional capacities. So students expect teachers to have this high emotional range, like if they are, yeah, I mean, students are expecting teachers to have to be considerate to their students. Yeah, that's one of the emotional capacities that we are looking for
Okay.
teachers. And
Correct.
then next po I methods and approaches. That's like what we've said earlier po. We are looking for teachers who are diverse when it comes to their methods and approaches.
Okay.
Next po is practicing digital responsibility. So what we get po from having this learner's perspective is the combination of a physical classroom and also the use of internet, since we are in educational technology. So we believe that if teachers are expecting us to be digital literate, and we are expecting teachers to be digital literate as well. So we are looking for teachers who avoid inappropriate, inaccurate content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Correct. Mm-hmm.
And then for teachers who are responsible to use technology and communicating responsibly and sensibly, because we believe that in order for students to learn these characteristics, it must start with the teacher po.
Yeah.
And so teacher should be the model of for the students.
Mhm.
Next po ay competencies. Okay, so for competencies po, we include social linguistic competency, communicative competency, strategic competency, and discourse competency. So we also base po these competencies for that is according to the curriculum guide
Mhm.
issued.
Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm.
And then lastly po, for the assessment,
Mm-hmm.
if teachers are also expecting if in teachers perspective they also have assessment, learners can have their preference assessment as well.
Yeah.
And then we included there po the student ownership and agency and self evaluation, just like what we've learned po in the module, or in the lesson in the previous lesson that
Mm-hmm.
we had, or in the activity that we had in this course po, in this subject. Self evaluation is very important for learners and for both parties po, actually. Teachers and learners should also learn how to evaluate themselves, to assess themselves, because that will be their platform
Mm-hmm.
on how they see themselves po. Yun po.
Correct. Wow. Okay.
Po.
In this case, really, right? We at least, right? We can meet halfway, right? Looking at the learning environment from students' perspective. These are your preferences from the teacher characteristics, her competence, right? Even, the use of educational technologies and even the assessment, right? That is important. Even when you browse, right? When you start browsing modules provided by DepEd, like they have like 30 plus activities and there's always self-assessment part there. So there is a need for not only self-directed learning, but also self-assessment. Okay. So congratulations, group two. Okay. Very.
Thank you, ma'am po.
Can you give them a clap, reaction? Okay. Yeah, thank you, teacher. So, how about the question? Right? How are you going to differentiate, okay, the teachers and learners' perspective in terms of learning environment? Just one quick, okay, answer to the question. Especially you are, what do you call this? Yeah, you are, you know, okay, teachers. Any representative from each group? A different representative. Okay. How about answering the question? What would be the main, right, differences between the learning environment from the teachers and learners perspective, and how can we connect your own model, your own design model to the previous model. Let me go to the previous one. Okay, Ma'am Grace.
I think in the teacher's perspective is that teachers need to be considerate in every aspect on how they teach students,
Hmm.
while students mostly considers how they're going to learn and cope with the teacher's strategies when teaching. Ayun po.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. Right, so we can teachers and students can meet halfway. How about from group two? Yeah, how will you connect, right, your or align your own model to the previous model?
Ma'am, for group 2 po.
Mm-hmm.
And good afternoon po ulit. What we have just noticed po in the teacher's perspective, in the illustration of teacher's perspective when it comes to classroom settings, they also included po the community. So it's much wider. Since I guess po, since they are professionals in their fields, they consider other factors. So their preferences are much wider than, and then comparing po to what we've done in our group,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's more personal. We address
Yeah.
the personal needs of students. But I also would like to commend the group of the work of group 1 kasi they also include the community in their discussion. And so
Yeah.
yeah po, that it's like a practice for us in being teachers that we have to consider much wider range of factors.
Yeah, especially they are the stakeholders, right? They're the secondary
Yes.
stakeholders in the teaching learning process. Thank you and congratulations to both groups. Okay. So now at least it's very clear, right? That again, just like what I said earlier, right? At some point these components are so not really just technical, but they're needed. But at some point, right, we also need to look at, students' perspective on how they would like to learn at their own pace, for instance, at their own preference of activities, right, assessment methods also. And yeah, and it's good, right, that you realize the need for those components, that it's not only about designing the classroom, even though that's part, right, when you handle, of course, when you go to the field, to the teaching field, especially in public school, you have your designated rooms that you can design, that you think it can be conducive to the learning of your students. So it's beyond, right? It's beyond the physical, features of your learning environment. So now, again, congratulations. So again, if you're part of the correspondence team and you work together, right, with these two groups, okay, so just take note on that part in the module that you work together with the online team. So at least you don't need to comply with that. Or if you like, right, if you have the resource or the resources to do it, you may print. I will upload your output as well on the stream in the Google Classroom. Okay. So as we continue, right, these are the ABCs of online teaching. So these are actually many, but you can go over them as we continue, especially we're near time. Okay, so let's accept change, right? Just like what you've you've been telling the class, right? Yeah, face to face and online instruction are very distinct, right? So we have to accept change, especially the clamor, right? The clamor of the students in this, setup, in this new normal setup. And I appreciate that you acknowledge, right, the presence of these innovations in your design model. Also, be present, right? Be present in the online teaching mode. For instance, a video conference, you need to be, physically present, right? And since students need multiple types of interaction, right? I mean, schedule virtual class hours through, for example, this Zoom or MS Teams or Google Meet, right? Whatever is available to the student. Another, right? You communicate. You have to communicate, like, update, right? Your LMS, your there, your reminders, even as much as possible. We try to record everything so that those who are struggling, I think we experience that a lot, right? I mean, today, in today's meeting. So please don't feel sorry. I know you keep on, trying your best to enter the Zoom, especially for Ma'am Angelica. I appreciate, right, your the interest and the effort, but yeah, I mean, we can't do anything about that. So next, KU, of course, right? Diversify instructional materials. So you also mentioned that in your design, right, model, that you prefer, various kinds of activities, various kinds of assessment, even, right, pedagogies or methodologies of teaching. Also engage intentionally, right? So yeah, given the physical distance that we have now, right? An online course like this can still encourage, heart to heart connections. That's why from time to time I ask you, like, how are you doing? So I need to know. And you shouldn't be forced, right, to attend such, online class. Another, yeah, first impressions matter. So right, so when it comes to, in accessibility of the files and these organized presentations, they affect, of course, students retention. So even this, I tried my best to even transfer it to, because I used Canva, right, in designing all the presentations. So you may also want to use that. However, when it comes to presenting it, it takes, I think it's the processor. So manually I transferred it to PowerPoint. So I saved it as PNG. Just if you like to do this, so I saved the file as well from Canva and in PNG style. So I, because some fonts again are not, some fonts cannot be embed, right? Cannot, are not embedded rather in the PowerPoint. So instead of simply, right, and being distracted, right, by the slow functioning of the software, I transferred it to a faster one. In this case, okay, greet students as well. Yeah, we also do that, right? You have to address students with their preferred name, right? And I asked you to even include your nicknames. That's part. Okay, and yeah, have fun, have fun. So you may assign different tasks. We may assign activities. Last time we played game, but now it's a form of recall that prepares you to the next activity. So it can be both recall and motivation, or one from both. Okay, but again, in the LP, it's required for you to have both. So also ignite curiosity. Yeah, so last time I tried my best as well to help you experience use other platforms. So it's okay that you use the previous, right? I mean the software that you use in your assignment, for instance. Okay, but as much as possible, let's try to explore other things. So at least you can, right? You can see what works well, what works fast for you in the future. Okay? So just breathe. Okay, it is important, right? Again, at first, during our first meeting, right, I asked for your feelings, and the top answer is nervous. Okay, so the feeling of being nervous. So that's normal. Again, just like what I said, you have to take time. Okay, it's your also the ability to manage this process is likely to uncover fields of imagination. Another is, yeah, keep watch. Always monitor your students. So as much as possible, right, you contact them if possible, or if you have concern, I am very willing to respond to your response. I mean, to your inquiry. Life happens. So since students are balancing, right, several obligations, home, right, obligations, school obligations, or even relationship obligations, right? We really need to understand and empathize with one another. So any help that you can extend to your classmates, your teacher, or even I to you, right? That can really make a big difference. Okay, so next, yeah, model professionalism. So it's not just you present yourself in the class as a mere teacher, right, or a mere friend, but you really need to model professionalism. You have to respond immediately and talk politely. By the way, you have to understand that I have a bebe syndrome. So every time you send me PM, I call you be. So that's how I address my students, and that's already in my system. So don't put any meaning to that. That's just how I address my students. So at least you don't feel so, yeah, I mean, far from me, right? So for others, they call you anak, they call you what? How else did they call you? In my case, it's just be or my baby syndrome. Okay, so never assume. Okay, so just like what I said, most of the time I give discussions, I give explanations, but I don't want to assume that you already know them, right? And even when you discuss, you can't say, please avoid saying the expression, we all know that, right? We have to avoid saying that because you have to assume that the reason you're there is for you to, right, inform your students maybe of the new things or the trends. So never assume. Okay, organize student groups as well. Okay, you may create opportunities like in our case earlier, the breakout session, right? So at least we can minimize, right? Thank you for raising your concern regarding that. We can minimize the activities in the Google form by doing the breakout session. However, again, some cannot sustain, right? Or cannot retain in a breakout room because of internet connection. So we also have to acknowledge that part. Okay. So you may go over to other parts of this lesson because it's already time. I would like to give you time, okay, to breathe, okay, to breathe in and out. So teachers, may I ask you to turn on your videos so we can have our class picture? Okay, by the way, I will edit the deadline. You told me it should be what, 2 weeks? Can you give me like react for that? Do you like 2 week
Yes, ma'am.
preparation? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you po.
Mhm. Okay, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. God bless you all. See you. Yeah. Thank you
See
so
you,
much
ma'am. Thank
for
you, ma'am.
So,
Thank you po.
See
God
you,
bless po.
ma'am.
Thank you
yes.
Thank
po.
you, ma'am. God bless,
Thanks,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Thank you,
early.
ma'am. Ma'am.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
First,
Thank
nag-private
you.
message daw po si Marjorie.
Okay.
Thank you,
Nabasa
ma'am.
niyo po, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Zoom.
Yes, ma'am. Kanina pong mga 3 po ata or
The long text I
yes,
screen.
ma'am.
Yeah. I saved it so at least I can. Yes, Sir Angel, you're so
Yes, ma'am.
happy. Why?
Wala po, ma'am. May
Okay.
pumasok lang po bigla sa isip ko.
Oh, okay. Okay. Bye. Take care.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
Bye
ma'am.
po.
Bye, ma'am. Ma'am.